Hello, everyone. I just wanted to put together this quick video on some of the things that you should have in place when setting up your driver's ed virtual meeting. So here I'm at the Zoom uh, where you would schedule a meeting. Right here, schedule a meeting. This is where you would, type in your topic of the meeting, driver's ed parent meeting, and probably the date, when it's going to happen. I would budget, around 2 hours for the meeting. And then here you'll have a password. If you want the videos on, obviously you would. Same thing with the audio communication. And then you can also here enable the waiting room, mute participants. We don't want to allow them to join before the host. And you can also, if you want, record the meeting automatically, just in case you were to forget to hit record when the meeting started. But that's kind of a preference for you. Now, that doesn't entail all the security settings, so you're want to go up here to the settings tab, and then from here, this is where you really want to make sure you have everything correct, so we don't have any inappropriate behavior going on in the actual Zoom meeting. So host video. This is a personal preference to you. If you're the host and as soon as you log in, your video is on. That's not something I need. I can turn it on when I join the video. Now, participants video, you probably want that on. So when they join, that webcam is going to start, and then they'll have the ability to change that during the meeting if they need to turn it off. Audio, you definitely want them to be able to either call in or get in through their computer. So you want to have both going on there. Here you want to have off, join before host. We don't want them to be able to come into the meeting before we are in the meeting. And then you also want to have a personal ID for the meeting, and that will be generated by Zoom when you schedule the meeting. The other two personal meeting IDs is not really important because we're not having an instant meeting. Zoom requires a password now, so you can't even change that. So that's going to be left on. The next three don't really pertain to us either. One, because Zoom has already made the choice for you with requiring these passwords. And then the authenticated users can join meeting from web client. That's going to be off. And then going into here, embed password in a meeting link for one-click join. You want to have that off because when someone clicks, if that is on, if they were to just click the link, they never would have to enter the password. So you do want to have them enter the password because that's just one extra step for the security concern. Require a password if they are going to be by phone. That's obviously already locked by Zoom. And you do want to mute participants upon entry because maybe they don't know how to mute, or it just creates a lot of background noise, especially if someone comes in a couple minutes late and the meeting has already started. You won't have to worry about muting them, but you can mute everyone during the meeting as well. Now, in the meeting, just some basics. The chat, you do want to have that on because they are going to, obviously answer some questions and tell you when they're ready to move on. But you want to make sure that you turn off private chats. You do not want students to be able to chat one-on-one with another student. And something that is also helpful is just auto-saving your chat. So at the end of the meeting, you don't have to worry about, oh, I forgot to save the chat. It's going to be automatically saved there. Another thing you want to look at is play a sound when participant joins or leave. You're not probably going to want to have that off because if someone's having a hard time with the network and the connection, and you're in the presentation, when they come in and out, that's going to play a sound, and you're not going to want to have that background noise going on. Same thing with file transfer. You do not want to be able to have your students send a file in the chat, and then it's inappropriate, and then someone else puts that up there and they see it. If you want to have feedback to Zoom, you can, a survey. I don't think we need to worry about that. Hold on 1 second. Another feature you might like is if you want to have your control bar always on, so it's visible, you can have that on as well. Now, screen sharing. Screen sharing, once you turn that off, so if I turn this back on, it's going to automatically turn on remote control, annotation, disable desktop for users, and whiteboard. Now I don't want, so as soon as you turn that off, it's going to turn off all of those features as well. So it really closes it down on what those kids are going to be able to do. So you're going to want to make sure you have that off. And then here, allow removed participants to rejoin. I have that off because if you removed someone from the meeting, it's because they did something inappropriate and you really don't need them coming back in the meeting. You do want to allow them to rename themselves because they're supposed to be using their first name and their last initial. And you're going to have a waiting room. So if they rename themselves and it's inappropriate, then you can just not allow them to enter the meeting. Hide participants' profile picture. I would want to have that on because when you say they have a inappropriate profile picture, that's not going to come up. It's just going to come up of the name that the student put in. If you want to, you can have them reported to Zoom, or you can report them to Zoom if they're doing anything inappropriate. You do not want to have any breakout rooms. That would be if you wanted to put kids and split them into rooms. We're not doing that. You're not going to need to really give anyone remote support. You're not going to have closed caption, so you don't need to worry about that. Virtual background, you do want to have that off because if they're using their webcam and then they put up an inappropriate picture of their virtual background, everyone's going to see that. So you want to have that off too. Let's see here. And here's the waiting room. That's where you're going to turn that on. And another thing you want to think about is turning on the join from your browser. So a lot of times when you join a Zoom meeting, your computer is having to download some software. If you click this on, that allows a kid or a student to join the meeting and not have to download that software, because sometimes when you have to download software, it requires a password. Maybe they don't know the password for that computer, so it's just kind of a workaround, and it does help. And then you don't really need to know the email notifications because you're not putting their email addresses into Zoom and then having them get an invitation that way. So you don't need to worry about that either. And that's pretty much it for the settings. So I hope that helped, and please let me know if you have any questions.